The 2007 sequel 28 Weeks Later, starring Jeremy Renner and Idris Elba, has re-entered popular consciousness, landing in the top 10 on both Netflix and Amazon Prime this week. 18 years after its original release, the film's resurgence feels unsettlingly timely. Set roughly 6 months after the virus outbreak in 28 Days Later, 28 Weeks Later follows NATO forces and humanitarian staff as they attempt to repopulate and rebuild London. But their efforts go awry when the virus resurfaces, more contagious and deadly than before. Jeremy Renner plays Sergeant Doyle, a U.S. Army officer leading the effort to evacuate survivors, focused in particular on rescuing a 12-year-old who may hold the key to human survival. Idris Elba appears as Major Scarlett Levy, a military doctor who discovers the new strain is worsening. Critics initially received 28 Weeks Later with moderate enthusiasm. It holds a 73% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes, though public sentiment was cooler at 66%. Many praised its tense action and Renner's commanding performance, even as some lamented that it lacked the raw emotional resonance of its predecessor. Yet viewers today are discovering a film that echoes modern fears of containment, mutation, and institutional failure, rendering its relative strengths even more impactful. Renner's role marked one of his early breakout appearances, years before his Hollywood A-list status. According to his official profile, 28 Weeks Later followed roles in SWAT and The Hurt Locker, where he first showcased his ability to anchor tense emotional drama. Here, his performance blends military precision with raw emotion, especially in his protector role toward a young refugee, reflecting the film's core dynamic, hope and responsibility in crisis. The film's return to prominence isn't accidental. Streaming algorithms are designed to spotlight thematically resonant titles. With public discourse dominated by pandemic anxiety and global instability, 28 Weeks Later offers a fictional snapshot of institutional hubris and viral escalation, and asks audiences to consider how civilizations crumble and rebuild. Streaming data confirms the sequel's performance. T3 magazine reports it is now ranked among the top 10 most-watched titles on both Netflix and Amazon Prime in multiple regions. With Danny Boyle returning as a producer, the original 28 Days Later creative team lent credibility to the sequel, even though it was directed by Juan Carlos Fresnadillo. That difference in directorial vision is often cited as the reason the sequel has a more conventional blockbuster tone, less haunting, more visceral. Importantly, 28 Weeks Later grapples with themes that now seem prophetic: post-crisis reconstruction, flawed military intervention, and the unpredictable persistence of viral threats. Scenes of soldiers quarantining survivors on the Thames and unwittingly reigniting the outbreak establish a narrative about the fragility of containment strategies. Doyle's determination to save a child becomes a metaphor for human responsibility amid institutional failings, especially when the virus returns inside supposedly safe zones. Renner's trajectory since 2007 highlights his versatility. From the manic cityscapes of Hurt Locker, which earned him an Oscar nod, to the Bourne Legacy, Arrival, and his Marvel Cinematic Universe role as Clint Barton, Renner has morphed from independent film hero to global blockbuster star. His turn in 28 Weeks Later marks the midpoint of that evolution, a film connected enough to the indie sensibility of British original 28 Days Later, yet expansive enough to serve as a Hollywood thriller. Streaming context adds to the release's resonance. Netflix and Amazon Prime have both recently struggled to break through with big-budget originals, so unlocking back catalog titles that align with global mood could be a strategic move. 28 Weeks Later taps into post-pandemic anxieties, a virus returning, containment failing, government scrambling, which parallels current headlines about emerging infectious diseases and questions around preparedness. Audiences are responding. Social feeds echo renewed interest in the film. Forums like Reddit are buzzing with comments like, watching this sequel for the first time, and it freaked me out more than 28 Days Later ever did, and perfect storm of pandemic anxiety and great storytelling. That emotional reaction, rooted in now familiar fears, underscores how genre fiction can preempt public sentiment. The franchise itself is expanding. The original timeline continues with 28 years later, currently in development under Danny Boyle's direction. That third installment promises to leap forward, exploring long-term aftermath. With Weeks Later dominating streaming charts now, anticipation for Years Later may intensify, and its potential release could ride the wave of renewed franchise goodwill.